Yo. Found my fucking lighter. It took forever. I'm really excited just to get to this video. But first things first, we're going to do something that's going to help us out. But anyway, let's get this introduction over with. Let's go. Yo, man. Peace and love to everybody. So, hey, bust it. Have you been rocking with me for years? You got to remember that other page is 13 years old. But most people didn't start really like rocking with it because I was mainly just music and shit. But I say like 2017, 18, it just started to take off. What was one of my major statements that I always said? They got you looking over here. Why they doing shit over there? Okay, now I had been said that. Okay, I don't have no military background, none of that. I'm just that dude. I can peep patterns. But before we get into these two motherfuckers, because I don't see how black people are even letting these people around. Like these motherfuckers should have been banned and been exposed. But whatever. We're gonna listen to an ex-military dude, or he could still be in there on PBD podcast. Excuse me. He's gonna talk to y'all about psyops. This is critical information because it's going to expose something. Excuse me. It's going to expose something. Whether people die, live, that is irrelevant. Because a lot of times people think, well, people aren't supposed to die inside. How the fuck could you say that? You can't say that. If a person is willing to mind control and brainwash the whole nation of people, what the hell makes you think they won't pick people off? You mean to tell me they can do psyops, but they don't know who's molesting the kids? You smoking rock. They do this shit on purpose. There's a lot of sick motherfuckers out here. But I want y'all to peep this out. Peep the game. Peep the knowledge. And then we're going to get on these two psyop bastards. But for now, let me see where we at. I don't know. Anyway, check this out.
Hear the word psyop. Look at for psyop. The drones, we allowed them from November 18th for 6 weeks, and we're not doing anything about it. Hey, look over here, but something's going on over here. How does the average person, one, identify psyop or even consider the concept of a psyop?
Man, that's a good question. I think the average person, just looking at what's going on, we're always involved in psyops all the time. And when I say psyops, there's a part of the U.S. Army that's special operations, that's psyops. And when we say psyops here, we won't be referring to like this is the U.S. Army. We're talking about just general psychological operations here. But if you're seeing...
Hold on. Because I wanted to pause it anyway. I don't know why I did that, but it's cool. What I want black people to understand is people like me have been telling you this shit for years. This is bad for my people because you guys don't listen to who you need to listen to until it's too motherfucking late. My people are known to do it. I don't know why. It's the rappers, it's the Umar Johnson. It's always the niggas who you think are helping you are really fucking you over. Like Denzel Washington, stuff like that. This nigga can say all this good shit, get an award all he want, but he did nothing for black people. Sounds like Barack Obama. That's who Denzel Washington should play. If he's going to do another movie role, he should be in a movie called Obama, and he should be Barack Obama. I think he would do a great job. I really do. That was just out of nowhere. But for black people to be tricked by the Klan and their landstone, because I can hear the victim black people already. Oh no, bruh, you're doing too much. You're too worried about who died instead of who's playing. That's what black people need to get on. But they're good at this because they know how emotional Black people are. Remember, y'all are all spirit. Y'all made all this music. You made the gospel. Everybody knows you're the super spiritual person on earth. But your problem is you let that get you played. That's where your issue comes in. You don't think somebody would do all this to you, even though you see that they're doing all this to you. That's what kind of makes it stupid. But so you have a white military guy telling you, we're always going through psyops. They're doing this shit all the time. Let's keep going.
Operations here. But if you're seeing large scale things happen, the first thing you want to look at is what's the timing of this event and what's the context of what's going on. And then right away, what is the information that's being suppressed and what's being forced out into the public? Like these passports that happened and the ID card that was found in this.
Why does he sound like me? I've never been to the military. I couldn't get in. I was born with an undeveloped retina, but because I did try. But why does he sound like me? Why does he sound like this? Sounds like some stuff I would say. I've never heard of this guy a day in my life. I guess, like they say, true geniuses think alike, or smart minds think alike. But here's the thing: I'm doing this all off the freelance. This is all outside of the lodge. All my masonry that I have, I learned outside of a lodge. I did not go to any of them. I've had a conversation with them. I've walked in there and talked to them, but I never joined anybody. I just have sight. I didn't ask for it. I wasn't born with it. It was given to me. And I know people would think that's weird. Like, how could something give you? Because you're right. Nobody actually verbally talked to me and put it in my hand. It's just they start doing things on the outside to show me who is there. And it's like, you're not, the world is not as normal as you think it is. Or at least this country ain't. It's not. It's not just, oh, people are just working hard and becoming famous or stars. No, they put people there. People don't just get certain positions in life just because they strived and earned it. That's not true. They put people there. They put who they want where they want. It is what it is. So now we're going to talk about the Cybertruck. And he's like, how the fuck did they blow up the truck? But the ID is perfectly fine. Like, it's legible. You can read it. How? Just like somebody saw a silhouette of the guy's head in the truck before it explodes, even though supposedly he had a 50 caliber Desert Eagle and he blew his own brains out. There would be no silhouette of no head. So clearly that must not have been a person at all. That probably was a dummy. Let's keep going.
Guy who burned in a Tesla. Like somehow this thing mysteriously.
You're talking about Matt Liversberger, who his Cybertruck exploded from the Trump Tower.
Yeah. So, like, what is information suppression and availability, and what's the timing of what's going on? Like, is there something else happening? So, like, is a political candidate about to transfer power, or is something going on somewhere else that this could be some kind of distraction for? So we just go back to the, like, if you learn magic, and you get a magic kit when you're a kid, and they teach you, like, well,
I read it back. Hold on.
The suppressed what's going on. Thing like the operations, that's psyops. And when we say psyops here, we won't be referring to like this is the U.S. Army. We're talking about just general psychological operations here. But if you're seeing large scale things happen, the first thing you want to look at is what's the timing of this event and what's the context of what's going on. And then right away, what is the information that's being suppressed and what's being forced out into the public? Like these passports that happened and the ID card that was found in this guy who burned in a Tesla. Like somehow this thing mysteriously.
You're talking about Matt Liversberger, who his Cybertruck exploded from the Trump.
So, like, what is information suppression and availability, and what's the timing of what's going on? Like, is there something else happening? So, like, is a political candidate about to transfer power?
Why would it? But we've already talked about this. See, that's the thing about my page. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think it's just, oh, he just loved Trump. No, bro. I told you he's a fly in the ointment. He has nothing to do with these people. So why do you think so much is going on right now? Just like him sitting with Barack Obama. We know the cameras is on. Like, we know the cameras is on. Okay, they show each other smiling. How do we know that's not a play? How do we know that Barack's not telling him a joke, something that he knows he's going to laugh at, so we can get it on camera so everybody can be like, oh, see, they're best friends. It's interesting because I had a joke. I'm saying they both was laughing about Biden and Kamala's presidency. They probably was like, yo, this motherfuckers garbage. Let's keep going.
Or is something going on somewhere else that this could be some kind of distraction for? So we just go back to the, like, if you learn magic and you get a magic kit when you're a kid and they teach you like, well, shake your hand over here. Let me just do this thing. It's very basic. I'm just going to do a big thing over here to draw people's attention away. So there's no, we tend to think like there's some highly advanced technology going on to harness the power of a psyop, but it's usually pretty simple.
So for you, Chase,
so for anybody out there thinking that blacks stolen from Africa and on the slave boat, even though all the names on the slave papers are European, even though you have white cargo, all this shit. For people who argue us about that, are they technically in a psyop? Yes, they are. Anybody who's still talking that slavery African story the way that the white dude told it, you're in a spell. You're in a psyop. You're a fucking slave. You don't make any fucking sense. The dude clearly told you in the military, I mean, from the military, he's like, bro, they do this all the time. They're always doing this to people over and over and over because they want you to look at one thing while they're doing something else. This is why I don't like celebrities and rappers no more, because they keep saying outlandish, stupid shit, and now we know why. They keep you looking one way. Plies was a fucking psyop. The whole Kamala thing, that was all a psyop. They paid that nigga to say that stupid shit. He knew she was a fucking bonehead. He knew she was an idiot, but that's not a part of the psyop. The psyop is to literally, like he said, it's right in your face. They're not even hiding it. You can listen to this woman and you can hear she's an idiot, but they will still put all this propaganda and bullshit behind her. A psyop, because they know she's fucking dumb. It's hidden in plain sight. It's right in your face. But he gonna talk about the brain. Watch. He gonna talk about the brain and language. Check it out.
The average person sees the drones. Oh, it's the drones going out. The average person sees, with the Cybertruck and the whole idea that you're talking about, and then Sean Ryan and his crew talking about that email. When the average person sees it, they look at it at face value. Here's what happened.
Yeah.
How do you view it when you see it?
The first thing I'm looking at is, what's the incentive here? Is there somebody that's going to gain from this being public or this being exposed to the public? And if you just look at the last few years, anything that we want to normalize to the public, we start out small. So we start out with these Freedom of Information Act releases like UAPs, drones, UFOs, all this stuff. And then these whistleblowers will come forward and start going on podcasts and they've been on Joe Rogan. They've been all over the place. So it started like this massive amount of information flux.
We had a couple of those. We had one of the guys on as well.
Now do you guys get what I'm saying when I be talking about all these podcasts with these like a Charleston White? Charleston White is a fucking psyop. You know what I'm saying? Charleston White is a psyop. Whack 100 is a psyop. Who's a white one? Billy Carson is a psyop. The Hawk Tour Girl, that was a psyop. I think a lot of those the feminist movement, lesbian shits out there just acting stupid, and I think those are psyops too. I don't think it's just males involved in psyop, because remember, there's females in the military too. So I'm trying to think of somebody white that I feel is a motherfucking psyop. I'm gonna have to think. Y'all can help me though out there in fucking YouTube land. Y'all think of some white people that you feel are psyops. Like, yo, this motherfucker is just now all the TV evangelists. There you go. From Peter Popoff. That's all psyop shit. Because now that you know what it is and they're always doing it, it's not schemers and scammers and charlatans. No, if they get a lot of publicity, they blow them up. That's a psyop. That's purposely put there. Women did not go into hoes and shit and start talking about hoe phase and all this crap till motherfucking Kim Kardashian showed up. They weren't doing this shit even when Lil Kim was out. Even fucking Trina, you know, the other one, My Neck, My Back. Y'all still weren't as lost as you are now until that fucking Kim Kardashian hit the scene. Then everybody became a bimbo, airheaded, money-hungry hoe. Because y'all all knew she was a rat. Y'all didn't see her whole track record. They didn't get this whole show. Now everybody talking about she's a district attorney or whatever the fuck. Are you crazy? You would give this bimbo a shot with your life? Anyway,
if you're talking about the UFO whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Interesting business model. Keep going.
And who was the guy that you just had on? I watched it on the plane on the way over here. Dr.
Wait. Did he say what
Information Flux?
We had a couple of those. We had one of the guys on as well. If you're talking about the UFO whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Interesting business model. Keep going.
And
that's crazy. So he's telling you that the UFO whistleblowers are psyops. Why? Because aliens aren't fucking real. They made that up to steal ancient people's shit. Melanated beings do not want to give us no credit. Do not want to say that, oh, all these great wonders of the world was actually made by Negroes. They don't want to say nothing like that. So that's a psyop too. And y'all be thinking we out here tripping with this Aboriginal Indian conversation. No, we not. No, we are not. Nope. We're getting warm. And now it's getting hot.
Who was the guy that you just had on? I watched it on the plane on the way over here. Dr. What was his name?
Stephen Greer?
Stephen Greer.
Okay.
Most believable guy I've ever seen from a body language perspective. Like, he is very believable. There's some guys that I think are less credible. But if you just look at this release of information, and when I see the drones as a behavioral expert, I'm seeing this is a logical expansion of that narrative. This is just the next logical step in a normalization process. So
see, they put the drones on the side of the alien talk to make you think about extraterrestrials. Okay, CGI doesn't help. It's just like the Matrix conversation we had, where I'm like, yo, you see how they're using machines as an example. It's really your phone. Okay, you see how they're using aliens, but it's really human beings making psyops. You see? Now, is it fitting? Is it making more sense? Also, here's another question. Does flat Earth sound as non-believable anymore as it used to?
we're normalizing these drones, and we're normalizing the aerial phenomenon, and then all of this stuff happening, we don't know what the end goal is. So if you're looking at a psyop, the end goal of all psyops is to modify or shape behavior of a crowd of people, a group of people. So what would be the end result, or the desired end result, for somebody to shape a behavior of a country or a populace? So we want to normalize it, but then you got to go into, and I'm not going to speculate on this, but the next step is why? Why would this need to be normalized? What would the next?
My answer, and nobody has to feel it, but my answer is the true American Indians are waking up. And that's why all this shit is just like coming out at once. They're doing so much shit. Remember, everybody was like tallying it up. It got to the point where everybody was tallying up what the hell was going on. The Gorilla Glue girl was on there. The whatever. They'd be like, this happened in January. This happened in February. This happened in March. It even happened last year, you know what I'm saying, with the Cat Williams thing, then the Diddy, then the Jay-Z, bro. What is going on at this time to where they're throwing all this flutter? Remember, they didn't want that nigga to win. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. It has to do with the American Indian conversation, and then it also has to do with you got Trump, who's not a part of the swamp. He's not a part of the inner sanctum. So when you start, turning over fucking beds and shit, and you start opening closets that's supposed to be top secret, not supposed to be able to happen, how could you get away with it? You know what I'm saying? You got to cause diversion. Y'all seen the dude, the reporter that was at the California fires with some fucking clothes pins in the back of his firefighter outfit? Like, basically, what old boy was saying is, because he tried to, add it to the Simpsons episode, but it's like, basically what old boy is saying is, we don't even know if the dude is really out there. Like, this could be some CGI shit they're showing you on TV. They could be really, I mean, they are really, burning down the houses. We're not saying that. But what we're saying is they could be playing. They might not really even be out there. This could literally be like a blue screen or a green screen. It's pretty deep. I'll show you that, though. I'll show you. I'll show that.
Step after that be.
So you got one incentive. Who benefits from this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were going somewhere. So the business format is, here's aliens, crisis, scare everybody. Hey, potentially we need, because of this, and then you bring those. So you're saying the level of advancement of the way they would do it is, boom, claim this guy's a whistleblower, that he's going up against the government, where in reality he's actually representing them, trick the populace to believe in that, and the whistleblower increases confidence in saying, yeah, don't trust the government when it comes down to this. But this
You're sitting there in the middle of the town, and you're in a town square, and the guy's selling the tonic. This is the ultimate tonic. You drink it, it'll keep you up, it'll make you stronger, you can work longer, whatever. There's an agitator in the crowd. I don't believe it. I think it's fake. You want a problem with me, huh? They both get into it. The police show up. All right, break it up. You're the only one not in the play. That's all three of them are involved in the psyop. I told you guys that years ago. No lodge, no university, no hanging with these uppity ups, none of that shit. How does a person do that? Through studying and then through gifts.
This is what's really going on, which in reality, that's exactly what the government wants to relate to you, and then trick the populace into distracting them from what the really is going to be. Is that kind of what you're saying? That's the business model?
Definitely possible. And I'm not casting aspersions on anybody, but I'm always suspicious if someone's coming out as a whistleblower when they have a list of what I'm allowed to talk about and what I'm not. And when a whistleblower comes out with, I can't talk about that, I'm limited to speak on that, then they have a list of speaking points. And that makes me a little suspicious.
Because they have an agenda. They're not just shooting off the hip because they actually, experienced it, so they can just come off the cuff. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. It's like it's natural because they went through it. Now they're limited. They can only tell you so much. Like if they're not a whistleblower, if they're still involved with these people, like if they put them out there to tell you
that. Do you have any examples of it?
Yeah. So I'm not going to mention any names, but you'll probably know who I'm talking about. You see somebody that comes out as a whistleblower, and they start talking about all these programs, and a podcast host is going, okay, well, tell me more about, are we doing this? Are we doing surgeries on these guys? Do we have these little alien creatures locked in a jar somewhere? They're like, oh, I can't mention that. That's the end of the road of what I'm allowed to talk about. And they're people with speaking points is what it is.
In so many words, he's saying they have handlers. They're only allowed to talk about so much. That's the same thing Jaguar Wright was doing. Another fucking psyop. It's like the shit is clear as day. I don't know how people can't see it. I'm gonna let y'all finish. Hold on.
And so you mentioned Stephen Korea. Why'd you bring up Stephen Korea? Did you bring him up because uh, 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 you believe he is a psyop, or did you bring him up to say, no, that's a guy that actually believe that what he's saying is correct?
I believe Stephen Greer. Absolutely.
You believe him?
Yeah. And I just watched it yesterday when I was flying down here, and I watched the whole entire episode. And
You've never met Stephen?
never met him.
Okay.
But every time I've seen him talk, he's okay with ambiguity. He's okay saying, I don't know that. We see so many people that are certain about everything. They know the reason, they know the why, they know maybe the star system that some kind of craft came from. They're certain. And I see the more certainty that I see in somebody, the less credible I tend to see them. I'm a little more suspicious. Let's just say that. And he is okay with ambiguity and saying, like, I don't know what this is or what it's for, but this is the fact.
Can you give some of the most successful psyops in the past that the government has used?
Dude, this one will keep you up at night. Can we type something in on the
Yeah,
the
of
screen?
course.
So type in PSYOP Vietnam Ghost. So this is Operation Wandering Soul. So they learned that the Vietnamese believe that the ghosts of people stay around, and you can communicate with them sometimes, you can hear from them sometimes. So we found a way to kind of hack into the North Korean radio systems and had dozens of voices of ghosts.
Peep this out. Peep this shit out. So we talking about the Vietnam War, yo. We talking about the Vietnamese. These niggas, because the Vietnamese believe that if you didn't like bury your dead, you know, the ones who died in war, they would be like wandering souls and they would never be in peace. So the American government literally made tapes to where they're acting like they're these dead souls, right? Talking to these people in their language, in Vietnamese. Let me explain something to you people, because I ain't trying to be an asshole. Let me explain something to y'all. And actually, I need to close up on this one. Let me explain something to you. I have already told people on my last page, and maybe I need to do that video again, that the whole point of a ghost story is made in America. These are made up stories. So whenever you hear white people trying to tell you about some story about Indians, a ghost story, or they're talking about some ghost story or some ghost in England, it's all bullshit and has always been bullshit. It's a spell and it's garbage. So if they're willing to do that to the Vietnamese, and they're willing to do that to the American Negro due to the Klan outfit and what the fuck makes you think they're not doing that? When they tell you these dumbass ghost stories and all this, there's spooks around and all that. Energy and a ghost are two different things. Energy is not going to talk to you. It's not going to push you over. You're not going to have any of that shit. The wind is not energy that you guys are talking about. You can feel energy. You know what I'm saying? You can feel like you walk in a room where a murder happened. You can feel shit. Like you're like, there's something bad happening here. But that's as far as it goes. That's your own nervous system. You're the one choosing to keep going or to run away. Okay, but when it comes to talking to you, seeing things floating in the room, that is all dopamine shit in your head. That shit ain't real at all. They created that shit. That's why they give you so much. The Ghosts of Christmas Past, horror movies, ghost stories, ghost campfire tales. That's why they do that. It's fucking with your head. And he's going to explain to us about language and how the human brain works with language. How basically language is something new to us. Honestly, like human beings, it's not as old as we think. Sight is old. Hearing things is old. Touching things is old. But language to the human experience is not as old as we think. So I'm going to let him finish. I'll let him finish. But it's pretty deep.
I did. I should have surrendered. I could sometimes. So we found a way to kind of hack into the North Korean radio systems and had dozens of voices of ghosts that would play like phantoms over the radio and say, I can't believe what I did. I should have surrendered. I could still be with my family if I just surrendered. And this is like, you can hear the tape is right there, but it's haunting. And it was a really good program.
So Vietnamese culture calls for a proper burial. Becoming a wonder. So it is the Vietnamese belief that the dead must be buried in their homeland, or their soul will wander aimlessly in pain and suffering. Vietnamese feel that if a person is improperly buried, then their soul wanders constantly. They can sometimes be contacted on the anniversary of their death and near where they died. Vietnamese honor these dead souls on a holiday when they return on site where they died. The U.S. used this to their advantage and tricked their Vietcong.
Now, where'd they learn that from? I'm going to teach y'all some real game. Where the American government learned that trick from? They learned that from experimenting on the American Negro, the Aboriginal Indians. That's where they got it from. Why? Because ancients used to do that to other people. We've been telling these type of stories. What do you think of a deity is? It's a little trick. It's a little trick that people have been using for a long time. It's just when ancients got hit in the head, they forgot that trick. And then they allowed this guy to create theater and theatrics, and they just forgot their own shit. But they were able to play the Vietnamese with it. Listen, you'll hear it.
To leaving by playing the audio recording of their dead friends. Are you kidding me?
It's insane.
And is that the example of what it sounds like? That they actually have a recording of it?
Yeah.
Let's hear it. So what is this? What are we listening to?
So just
remember, he told you they intercepted their radio. So this is just regular music playing. But then this would happen while you were listening to a radio broadcast.
Some ceremonial music, but then the voices come in and
Can you fast forward a little bit?
So now it sounds like a haunted house. Like, you remember when you buy like a cassette tape of Halloween noises?
Yes.
It's kind of what it sounds like.
And what did this do? How successful was this operation?
I think it was very successful. I think a lot of people either chose to return home or so they could be buried at the right place, or to surrender so that they didn't get killed and they could make it back to their family. So this is a great example of it. But when it comes to behavior, here's one of the biggest things. If I could divert really quick.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you can ever understand about human behavior is that human beings tend to overvalue language.
Human beings tend to overvalue language.
Yeah. So I teach persuasion and influence for a living.
Okay.
I don't teach PSYOPs all the time. I train PSYOPs maybe once a year. And that's at Fort Bragg. So when it comes down to, let's just take a basic example of sales, a sales team. Somebody says, well, I need a better script. I need a better thing for the phone. What do I say? Or somebody, let's say the top sales guy at a company has this record number of sales. What does the management do? They're like, okay, what is he saying? Not who is he? It's what is he saying? And that's the biggest mistake. It took me 15 years to learn this mistake that our species makes is we value language so much. And I've studied neuroscience for the past 7 years, and there is no structure in our brain designed for language. We have one for vision, for smell, for touch, motor control, all of this other stuff. There's no hierarchical structure in our brain for language. That's because it's pretty new to us as a species, and our brains haven't changed in 200,000 years. But we think, what do I need to say? And when I get clients, the first thing that clients ask me for is, we need a better script. I need more techniques and tactics. I need to know what to say. And I immediately go back, and we're 30 feet from an airport as we're sitting here right now. And I go back and I say, if I gave you a flight checklist, every single detail on it for a Cessna 172, are you a pilot now?
No.
No. I mean, you can follow those little steps, but it's not going to make you fly the plane well. It's not going to make you do a good job. If I spent $50 developing the most incredible sales script that's ever been written in the history of humankind, and I take that and I hand it to somebody who has social anxiety, and I tell them to go make a sale, it's not going to be very effective. So we fail to recognize as human beings that if I can influence that mammal part of the human brain, then I get results every time.
This happens with women all the time. This is why women can clearly see somebody is a drug dealing criminal, or somebody has multiple baby mamas and multiple kids, and they will still sleep with it. Why? Because, like they say, women are attracted to what they hear. So it makes sense why we call her the weaker vessel if he's telling you that the human brain hasn't developed a pattern for language yet. And this is for 200,000 years. We still don't have one. We have one for motor vehicles. We have one for sight, for touch, for taste. We have one for all of that. But the brain still hasn't created one for language. And that makes sense. That's the whole reason that spell casting can work. You can't trick somebody's nose if something stinks. If it stinks, it stinks. Motherfucker, okay, it stinks. You cannot trick somebody's eyes if they literally see something's coming towards them. If they don't move, they're going to get hit. It's like you cannot trick that. You cannot trick somebody touching something and it's lumpy. You know what I'm saying? Or bumpy. You cannot change that. But for some reason, that Grinch was so sly and so slick. He thought up a lie. He thought it up quick. Okay, that works on people. People can be tricked only through language. Magicians don't count because a magician is telling you that they're going to do something that is going to like play on your eyes. You know, like they say, the hand is quicker than the eye. So that doesn't mean they're not really doing something. They're doing something. It's just it went too fast for you to see. That doesn't count. But when somebody's verbally talking to you, they're macking you. That can happen. Deep shit.
And when it comes down to psyops, it's the same thing. And that mammal part of our brain has 4 parts or 4 things that influence it. And that spells out the word fate. And that's focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. Those 4 things. If you watch the most brilliant way to demonstrate this is if you just watch a video of Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. He's training these dogs. He doesn't sit down and talk to these dogs and say, listen, I know you haven't had a great life. I know you were abused in the last home, but these are new people. They're great. They're great folks. That's a mammalian brain that we're dealing with. And it's the same thing for human beings. And I could show you some beautiful examples of how fast, you could talk a human being into murdering a total stranger. The average person could be talked into murder in about an hour.
What do you mean?
We're going to get into it if we have time.
Of course.
But we know that's true. We know that's true. That's why gangbangers recruit kids so young. That's why they'll let them hold the dope. Oh, they're not going to lock you up. You're young. We know that. We see that firsthand. So he said you can literally trick somebody or talk somebody into murdering someone in under an hour. All you need is a good hour conversation. You can get somebody to pretty much kill somebody.
Biggest mistake that we need to understand what influences the mammalian part of the human brain, that focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. Those 4 things are what truly influence human beings. It's not about language. And I spent my whole life
saying the mammalian brain, but he's really talking about the reptilian cortex. I guess he really didn't want to use that word because, you know, people with the reptilian and all that shit. But fight or flight, your basic instincts. Okay, well, they can be tricked through language, which the brain still doesn't fully comprehend yet. It doesn't even understand. Like, we don't even know how we're creating a connection through conversation with comprehension. We really don't understand that part yet. That's how people can be tricked and lied to. This is all going great to this video. This is perfect.
Learning, or the beginning parts, learning like, what are the words I need to say? What's the sneaky little script that takes place? But if we look at, and this is all going to tie back into how we're being influenced by social media, and it's not the language we're hearing. It's not the reports of all this stuff is going down. These attacks are happening. Those words are almost meaningless to us. It's the imagery. And even like, if you're thinking about just a quick sidetrack to that, if you're setting goals, just writing goals down in language doesn't do as much as you've heard of vision boards before, doesn't do as much as that. So when I'm teaching my clients how to set goals, the first question I ask is, how could you show your dog what your goals are? If your goals are not written in a way that you could show it to a dog, you're a lot less likely to accomplish them. So we have to get down to the mammalian brain because it's in charge. So for anybody who thinks like, oh, the human new part of our brain is in charge of us, try to hold your breath until you die. You can't. You can't do it. That mammalian brain is going to knock your ass out. You're going to be laid out on the floor. So that is one of the biggest things that we really need to understand, is that when we're talking about any of this influence, it comes down to that focus, authority, tribe, and emotion.
Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear,
you want to buy one of his hats, buy them. So let's get to it. So these two, and I'm pretty sure you guys can see where I'm going with this, because I've let old boy kind of rock the house. So bottom line is, when it comes to WAC 100 and Reggie Wright Jr., how are people not seeing that these two are police? Remember, the only people watching them are people that are, into this type of discussion, which is, rap murders and all that. So probably people that are like criminals or, thug life, whatever. But these are two police, and everybody knows they police. And you would believe that they could literally have all this information about murders, and they could just come out here and just run their mouth and blabber all they want, and that's not for a reason. Most wise people know Pac's not dead. He didn't get killed that night, and Biggie's probably not dead neither. There's too much around this shit. Now all of a sudden KVD might be released because it's false information, or too many witnesses have died or disappeared and all this different stuff. Ironically, just like the fat sucked in the bullets, or there's no blood on the crime scene, and they literally took this person out of the car and laid him on the floor. You guys are caught in some shit fucking with them too. You fucking really taking what Gene Deal and Reggie Wright Jr. is saying serious. You gone. You lost like a motherfucker. So I'm saying that, like, this is the time ring. You see the whole explosion. Like, think about it. Look how everything's hitting at once. The New York situation, the New Orleans situation, the LA situation. Look at all this shit. And you would think that it was just random. But we just heard the military guys say that they pull psyops on the people all the time. Why? To keep them looking one way while they're doing something else. Trump's not in office yet. So it's like, I can't blame him for any of this. He just got hit with the 34 counts. So now he's a felon president. Why would they want to do that? Because they clearly don't like him, and he's clearly not involved. Why would he want that on his jacket? That don't make no damn sense. To me, I feel the demon rats have had the military and all types of different services in America in their back pocket for a long time due to that swamp. Just like the whole Joy Taylor thing. Like they said, why didn't anybody say anything? Nobody is going to say anything. They're all doing dirt. They're all dirty. Who's going to talk if we're all dirty? It had to take a random person that wasn't in the mix, a foreigner. If you notice, the lady who really like set it off with the whole Fox Sports thing is a foreigner. She's not involved. Same thing with Trump. That's why they wanted him fucking it, because he's not involved. Now remember, I'm the one who told you guys years ago. They have you looking over here while they're doing shit over there. So it doesn't mean I have all the answers. It just means I've been correct so far. So what do you want me to say? Like, what do you want from me? I just put things together, that's all. I ain't trying to step on nobody's toes. I'm just like, I can see. So, I say all that to say this. Reggie White and Gene Deal are police psyops. They were police. They are still police. And their police have put them out here. Police used to do dumb shit like setting people up on Facebook for weed stings and shit. Yeah, I want some butt, bring the woody wood. Pop your ass. I want some crack. I want to meet me at pop your ass. You guys literally have seen on Instagram, people think they won something and really they get locked up for theft. Be mindful of your life. That's all I'm saying. Just be mindful, yo. And I'm laughing at this video because I'm like, I don't see how anybody fell for these two idiots. Like, you guys don't realize you're talking to two police. They hating on Greg Caton and shit like they're not police. So, like he said, they give you the whistleblower on purpose to put you on a dummy mission. See, I don't blow no whistles. I ain't exposing shit that ain't already been out. Just people haven't looked at it. But I don't come through with no shit where it's like it's not findable. It's there. Whether it's wisdom, whether it's history, whether it's, what's going on. I always give you guys information you can find yourself. So there's no psyop on this page. There's no lying or anything. I'm just giving you the information that's there. White propaganda. It's truth. You call it bias because it's one-sided, but it's like, it's truth. I'm not lying to you. You have it. I want you to have it. So now that you guys know how psyops work, I want you to look back on all the internet bullshit that you've seen. All the outlandish news stories that you've heard. And I want you to try to pick out which ones are real and which ones are truthfully what people call a distraction. Leave me a comment on what you think was a psyop. I want to hear from you guys. Like, this is a good video for people to express what they feel that they've seen that they don't think was real at all. Keep your 5 heavenly senses working and realize you're not as wild or as crazy as you think you are. They're creating it. Ghosts.